Well, hello and welcome. I'm gonna try out. I have an idea for a Baccarat strategy here. I want to try out. Um, so it's going to use two things. One is, Baccarat decisions tend to come up because of the way that they're drawn. Um, you tend to get long streaks of a single thing coming up, like banker over and over, or player. But it also could be mixed up with like some more choppy results, like going back and forth. Player, player, banker, 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 player, 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 banker, banker, player. You know, but it can definitely run into these longer stretches. So, um, what I'm going to do is, as far as there's going to be two parts to this. One is the way that I bet. So, uh, if it's, I'm going to automatically assume that a long stretch is of something is coming up. So I'll start betting on whatever the last thing that came up was, you know. And if I get a long series of where I keep losing doing that, so in other words, it's a long series of where it's going back and forth. Well, then I'm going to assume that it's going to be a long series of going back and forth. So I'm going to start betting on if it continues that trend, what's going to come up. So in other words, I'm going to basically be betting on the trends, you know, um, betting that, if player is coming up, that it's going to keep coming up, or if banker comes up, it's going to keep coming up, or if it's going to flip back and forth, then I'm going to just try to imitate that and bet where I think it would come up if it continued doing that, you know, and then basically so trying to anticipate what the runs are going to be. And then the other part of it is usually when you're using a strategy like this, whenever you lose, you would double your bet until you win, and that's called martingaling. Well, you can bust really quickly by martingaling. Um, so what I'm going to do is, instead of martingaling, I'm going to do something slightly different, but it's similar, but it's more conservative with your money. I'm going to be raising my bets when I lose using Fibonacci numbers. Now, Fibonacci was a Italian mathematician, and he figured out this sequence of numbers it's very, very, widely pervasive throughout nature. It's in everything. In the shapes of galaxies and the proportions of our bodies. It's everywhere. It's in everything. And it's a simple sequence where each number in the sequence is the sum of the two previous numbers. So it actually starts off, um, like I think it starts off 0, 1, 1, or it might just start off 1, 1. I don't know if the zero's in there or not. I forget. But it starts off 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. Like here, I got them here. Hold on. I didn't bother with the second one at the beginning because I just I'm going to use these as my betting amounts. So you figure 0 and 1 would give you 1, and then 1 and 1 would give you 2, and then 2 and 1 gives you 3, and 3 and 2 gives you 5, and 5 and 3 gives you 8, and 8 and 5 gives you 13, etc. Right? Well, so let's say I make my first bet, which, because on here the lowest bet you can make is $1. The highest bet you can make is $500. So were I to add these two together here, it would be over 600. So I stopped here at 377 as the largest bet. So I make my first bet and I lose, and then I make my second bet at $2 and I lose, and I go on and on. So let's say I get up to 21, and I win. Now when I win that bet, if I was just martingaling, if I was just doubling, winning that bet without busting would mean that not only would I have gotten back everything that I lost, I'd also be a little bit ahead in profit, right? Now with this, if I win this bet here, I'm not going to be ahead in profit. I will have recouped a lot of what I lost, but in order to get into profit, I would either have to, in order to get in profit, I would have to now, instead of jumping back down to my base bet, okay, of 1, like I would if I was martingaling, I only drop back 1 to 13. So I won the 21. Now I go one bet lower. I go to 13. Now let's say I win that. Okay, then I'm in profit. Now I can jump back to my base bet. Okay, but if I lose, I make the 21 and I win. I make the 13 and I lose. Then I go back up and I make the $21 bet again. Now, if I win that, then I'll be in profit, I believe. So, in other words, I either have to win 2 in a row, or I have to win 2 out of 3 bets to be in profit. And then after I've done that, as soon as I get into profit, I can jump back down to my base bet. So either 2 consecutive wins, like I win the 21 and then the 13, or I win the 21, I lose the 13, I win the 21. Or let's say I lost everything until I got up to 89. I win the 89. I make the $55 bet. I lose it. I make the $89 bet again and I win. Then I'm in profit and I can jump back down to my base bet. So that's the idea. Okay. So that combined with trying to copy whatever trend is playing out and bet accordingly, that's going to be my strategy here. So I'm going to give it a shot. And let me just say before I start, as I do with every video, okay, these strategies, I don't, this is still gambling, and you can still lose all your money very easily. I'm just trying to find the most efficient, the best betting strategies possible to lose the least amount of money and to give you the best chances of actually walking away with a win. I'm going to try. So I'm not liable for what you do. You gamble at your own risk. I take no liability for what you do. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is gambling. And I'm assuming that you're old enough to gamble legally where you live. So anyway, I'm going to test this out here. This is a Bovada Casino online. You can play for free, practice play. So I'm going to go ahead and test this out and see if I can. My goal is going to be to shoot for a $200 profit. Because of the reason I choose a $200 profit is like if I had if this was a real thing and I walked in with a $1,000 bankroll, which is what they give you here, and the bets were set up like this, where the lowest bet is $1 and the highest bet is $500, then yeah, my goal would be to see if I could walk away with $200 for the day, because I think that's a reasonable profit given the bankroll and given the betting limits. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started here. If you're going to do this here and play for fun, here it's bovada.lv. It's odd. So you have to go here into this table games tab, right? And these are the table games. Now, the way, for some reason, their website's screwy, I have to click that. Okay, I clicked on where it said Baccarat. Now I got to refresh the page. And then it will pop up like that. And then I got to close this. I'm not going to log in. I'm not a member. I just close that. And then now it pops up and I can do practice play. See, if I was to click here, that would be real play. I'd have to deposit money and play for real, but this is just practice play. Right here is $1,000 of fake money. Okay. Sorry about that. I didn't have my headphones on. I forgot the music was playing. I know that kind of overwhelms my voice. But yeah, anyway, that's the $1,000 of practice money. So you know what? I'm going to keep it like this because I'm going to need to switch back and forth and keep track of my bets on here. So I'm going to keep it small like this. Makes it easier to see. So, okay. Well, as far as the first bet goes, since I don't have any information yet, I mean, I could place an even bet on each of these, but if banker wins, I'm not going to break even. I'm going to lose a little bit anyway, whereas if player wins, then I'll just break even. So what I'm going to do is banker tends to come up more often, which is why it pays less, but player tends to pay more. So I'm just going to make an ordinary bet, just the lowest possible, the base bet of 1 right there. So I'm going to keep track of my bets on here by highlighting these. So I'm on my base bet, and I'm just going to go with player because if it does pay out, it'll pay more. So let me go ahead and deal. And it won, so that's cool. So we're ahead of the game. So since it won, I'm going to stay at my $1 bet. I'm not going to raise it or anything. And I'm just going to rebet the same as what already came up. That's what they call flat betting. I mean, as far as betting the same, you know, neither raising nor lowering it. Okay. Well, now that one lost. So now I'm going to go to my $2 bet, and I'm going to put it on banker, which is what came up last. So, and I'm going to deal.